training is a very hard season. You see some of my photos of many years, as wonderful as those photos are, you see some of us looking lean. We look better than those days now, but those are the days that made these days. Hallelujah. Emptying yourself in prayer, emptying yourself in fasting, raising the bar of your fire and your passion. Even when you are doing well, you increase the bar of the marking script as if you are not doing anything. Hear me, my dear generation, hear me. Don't settle for less. Don't settle too cheap. There are heights and the journey is far. Remember my teaching last week. I challenged you on this wise, and I'm still repeating it again. When it's time to announce the US conference, I will tell you a very serious miracle that God did. There are things that when God does, it just keeps you in awe. Hallelujah. Let me tell you sincerely, and I'm saying this openly, there is no £1, €1 that has been sent already for this conference. Every money that has been used to do everything so far has been the lavish giving of God's people, with joy in their hearts. In spite of the limitation, we don't have an account provided yet, and people have squeezed in to say, I can't wait. When you stay and it builds you, don't worry about supplies. Don't worry about a name. Don't worry about where you will get the donkey for the triumphant entry. Just make sure that your gift and your talent is developed. In one day, God can open up a door. Someone can come and sing one song and the whole nation will place a demand on you. In one day, God can put you somewhere as a politician and as a businessman. A dear woman, I can't remember her name now. I met her when I went to preach for my dear friend Pastor Kingsley in Lagos. And I meet this woman and she starts to tell me her story, very touching story. It's possible she's even watching or may get to hear this. And what took her to the White House was moi moi. Making moi moi. That's what scaled her till she got to the White House. Until today, she's still doing it. She shared with me her story and I was so touched. I remember discussing with Pastor Kingsley's wife. I said, you have to do a documentary for this woman. Incredible. Anything can lift you if you refine it. Admiring people and wishing, if I were more beautiful, God knows. If since you are not Esther, be something else. You are not Esther, be Deborah. At least be something. Wishing you were Esther is a waste of time. If you cannot be the queen that King Ahasuerus will marry, then be Deborah the warrior. Then be Naomi. Then be this. If you cannot be Gideon, be Elijah. If you cannot be Elijah, be Samuel. Since you cannot fight, learn how to prophesy. But by all means, make sure you do something. Can I tell you, what God has put in your hand is enough to open the gates of your destiny. Listen to me. Thank God for those who have what you do not have. But stop this season of blind admiration that makes you to demean what you have. Everybody can celebrate what you carry. You just have not recognized it and refined it. Anything in its crude version is not worthy of being rewarded. I know you are a great musician. Thank God for David Dam and Sam and K-Strings and all these my precious people. Thank God for their lives. But do you know that what God has put in you, someday you can stand and share the stage and also celebrate Jesus. But it's good to be challenged by other people's giftings, but please not at the detriment of what God gave you. Thank God for Apostle Joshua Selman, but what you are seeing is a refined version of something you may even have a greater version of. Anything looks bad when it is not refined, including oil. Go and ask those who work in the oil and gas sector. When you see oil in its raw and crude state, the smell alone will drive you away. You almost want to suffocate. Yet that's what cars will queue for hours and say thank you for paying. Can I tell you this? God has already scheduled your destiny helper. I have taught you. Your destiny helper kept visiting you, but he found you in jealousy and anger, not working on yourself, and they were authorized to go back. I hope this year they will not come again and still find you who is still giving excuses and blaming demons and saying it's because my father was a drunkard. That may not be the best, but now that you know he's like that, what do you have to do? Years ago, I read a story, and I've shared it many times while we're in Zaria. A man who raised 2 children, was not a very responsible man, unfortunately, and he raised 2 children. One would later become a very bad person, a nuisance to society, and the other would grow to be some sort of businessman, very responsible man. And one time they had the opportunity to interview both of them, and they asked the bad, angry person, why are you like that? And he says, what do you expect with the kind of father I had? That was his excuse. Why are you bad and bringing trouble to society? He said, what do you expect with the kind of father I had? They now ask his successful brother, why are you like this? And said, he's also answered the same way. What do you expect with the kind of father I had? For one person, his father's negative situation was a challenge that made him say, if I came from a poor family will not come out of me. It was a determination. For another person, he kept blaming. Some of you today will never rise because you are blaming everybody in your life. They didn't help me. I have an uncle somewhere. I even saw him the other day buying cars for his children and not for me. That is a mediocre excuse. Repent today and get back to work. Hold on the steering of your destiny with the determination of one who is walking with God, and begin to drive your life to a place of purpose. It is not because you came from a bad family. I don't downplay the pain that you came from, but or you passed through. Let me tell you, there are many people who went through 10 times worse an experience than you, and they have been able to reinvent themselves and to rise. Hallelujah. Many years ago, there used to be someone in Jos. I think he won one of these prizes for marathon years ago, and we had the opportunity to meet him. We were introduced to the man. He used to climb a mountain with stones in a bag, like rock stones. He would put it in a bag and be hiking up a mountain. That was the way he trained himself for that kind of thing. Now, he came from a village, very poor village, but then most people would see him in glory and not know that that was the price. Can I tell you, do not be ashamed of your tears when you know that you are in a season of training. Don't pamper yourself. If you must trek with honor. If you must do 001 your meal, do it with honor, so that your children can do 111. Are we together? Apostle, I don't have the opportunity to go to a very good school. I'm now sending my children to maybe some institution that I'm paying next to nothing. They are not teaching them very much. Let the children make good use of that opportunity. It's better than nothing. Tomorrow God will supplement it. There are people like us that God is raising as midwives. I have a very powerful teaching here about the mystery of midwives. We'll discuss Mephibosheth and the mistakes of midwives, that midwives can destroy destinies. A man's destiny was crippled because of the carelessness of a midwife. A midwife is not just a medical practitioner. Anybody who helps people transit from where they are to where they need to be is a midwife. And you can produce Mephibosheth if you do not know how to raise men. That's a teaser for that series. Be around on that day. That day will be like the coming of Christ. I will not tell you. Just be ready. Hallelujah. How many of you here as worship ministers listening to me can truly say, I am working on myself to a point where even if 10 million naira is given to me, it will not look like it is too much a reward? Do you know, I'm saying this with all humility. I remember days when I started preaching, I would go to preach, doing my best, and once I'm done preaching, you see the people discussing, they are obviously discussing what to do with me. And they would just put maybe rice in a pack away, and once they put it, they would just open a notebook and tear out a little sheet and just fold 100 naira, maybe 1,000, and just say, man of God, you know that may God bless you. And they will wait till I climb the bike to return me home first. Then they'll just smuggle it like bribery in my pocket. But I'll take it with joy. That was not my motive. But I knew that days will come when God will, his justice system will not allow that kind of thing to happen again. I have never, and I will never in my life tell anybody, give me this amount, give me this honor. No, never, never. The covenant of my call and my service prohibits that. I love him and I serve him truly. I would rather even sow into the lives of the people and bless them. Hallelujah. Sacrifice. I remember one time, I think I had preached in, that was, I think somewhere in Ondo State. And we're done and no, was it, that was Funab, so I can't remember. And I was to return to have a meeting in Jos, and it was by road. Ladies and gentlemen, look, let me tell you, when you go through the seasons of training, don't worry. Go through it with pain, but with gallantry and honor, knowing that there is a compensation system waiting for you. While you are rehearsing, my dear instrumentalist, don't pamper yourself. Rehearse for hours. Learn the songs, fast and pray, receive songs from heaven. Okay, the first one that God used you to bring, it didn't seem to be appreciated, no problem. Go back again. One night you will catch a fish that your net will be sinking and your boat will be breaking. Your net will be breaking and your boat will be sinking. As a preacher, keep being diligent. Pray and prepare. Fan yourself to flames. Don't try to expose yourself and say, no, me, I'm here. Neither do men light a lamp. You just keep adding fire. A day will come when it's time for God to announce you. He will put all your destiny helpers in front of you, and then somebody will passively say, help us and round up this service with one last prayer. 5 minutes prayer, let us pray. God will sign on your tongue and sign on your voice in a way that someone will come and meet you and say, we have a little conference. The speaker is not coming again. Can you come and help us? Don't take it as an insult. Go. And God will announce you until one day you stand on stage with the people you once admired, and they will call you blessed. Businessman, don't try to act like you're a billionaire. Well, act in your mind, but not by faking your life. You're not there, you're not there. Diligence will make you go there. A day will come, the people you are begging today, to be an honor for you to sit at the same table, for them to sit with you. And they will share as colleagues. But until then, refine yourself. I'm speaking to someone prophetically. Refine yourself. Half-baked you will not rise to certain heights, not by sentiments and not by anything. Apostle, kings are not making a demand on me. I'm a chef, or I cook. You cook as good as what? Can we ask you to come and cook for kings and be sure you will not disappoint them? You know, I've taught you, when it has to do with the issue of value, don't stop until the person you are serving is the king. Once you have not gotten into the palace, don't stop. You go to my house right now, God is my witness. You on my laptop, there are videos I'm watching. There are things I'm writing for my own personal growth. As soon as I'm done, finished with ministry activity, I go back. It's not an excuse to say I'm going to jump and sleep. I have daily routines that I must cover by covenant. Doesn't matter whether I'm tired or not. As I travel, they go with me. I finish preaching, and while people are saying I was in the meeting, keep shouting under the anointing while I keep building myself. Lord, your boy is here again. Let's continue the training from where we stop. Your word tonight should be that song you heard. Fix me. Take away pride. Fix me. Take away complacency. fix me, take away flimsy excuses. I know that Nigeria is not in the best of state, but there are people who, even if Jesus was the person in Aso Rock, they will still suffer because their problem is in, I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, forgive me, but that they would still go through a hard life because intrinsically it's just easy to blame people and things. You are ready to rise when you can take responsibility and say, I've been a careless father. Nigeria is not the reason why my children are not in school. I have not gotten up to take responsibility. Lord, I have failed in my responsibility as a father, and I apologize to my wife and my children. I grew up from a background where I did not know much. Lord, I am ready to learn. My children will never be thrown out of school again. I don't know what to do, but I know that I'm not going back again. And the spirit of wisdom will take it from there. The first video you will watch, you will find my video on productivity, and fire comes from that video to now stabilize you first. Then you start following the mysteries of the kingdom, and in 1 year it will look like a mistake. You would have come out of that, and you will build a scholarship fund after your pain to now help other children. Apostle, we come from a very terrible family. That's why we're all struggling, 8 of us in one room. For as long as you keep blaming someone that has died and gone for the reason why you are where you are, there is no rising for you. In my world, there are no excuses. I take responsibility for anything and everything that does not work, and I get to work about it. That's the mindset of a champion. Stop pointing hands at people and lay your hands on the plow and say, Lord, grant me grace. There is a reason why my ministry is not growing. Father, I love you with integrity of heart, but what am I missing? And the Lord will say, go and listen to Apostle's message, the work of the ministry, and you go and get that teaching and camp with it. A message of 1 or 2 hours, you will use 4 days to listen, because you will keep pausing and praying, pausing and praying. Finally, you will find a few secrets, and from there you will rise. You must damage ignorance from your life. Fight it like you're fighting the devil. Mama, don't say, I am too old, there's nothing I can do. If there is nothing you can do, you can pray. If there is nothing you can do, you can advise. If there is nothing you can do, you can call your sons and daughters and say, I may not have made the most out of my life, but my dear children, in my lifetime, I want you to rise up and surpass me. I want to watch with my eyes your victory. Let it be a consolation to the things I could not do. Can I tell you,